everyone. Welcome to another episode of Africans in Vancouver. I am here with my guest, Jules.
Hi.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Why are you acting like a musketeer all of a sudden? Anyway.
I'm so excited. So I was just like, oh wow, the energy. I'm loving it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. First from just your journey and why you came to Vancouver and how you came to Vancouver and just a little bit about what you were doing before then.
Okay. My journey to Vancouver.
What led you to Vancouver?
Okay.
Why Vancouver?
So you want to break down those
Of all
questions
places.
for me? Oh, of all places, why Vancouver? That's a really good question. So I graduated high school. I went to high school in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
So you're from Malawi?
Yes, half Malawian, half South African.
Okay.
So my dad's Malawian, my mom's South African, and
But
I
you
lived
lived
in both places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I lived in both places. I was in Malawi till I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
then I was in South Africa till I was 18.
Okay.
So the high school years is why I end up saying I'm just both, because it just makes sense.
Right, right.
And most people go to University of Cape Town when they go to South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I had enrolled to University of Cape Town for a law degree, and then, yes.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. I didn't do it, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go study law, but I had an issue with my eyes at the time, right after I graduated, and I may have told you about this, but I'm not sure.
I
But
think
basically-
when our previous life group, you were getting surgery for
Exactly,
it. Yeah.
yes, I got surgery now. So I used to have, I still have a genetic eye disease from both my parents.
Okay.
And basically your cornea changes shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out at that time. So I needed to go through a series of tests. I couldn't just wear glasses. So going to university at the time wasn't really an option because I wouldn't have seen the board. I wouldn't have been able to focus in classes. So I actually extended my University of Cape Town acceptance while I was going and getting tested for different things in South Africa.
This was at 18?
I was 17, graduated, I skipped a grade. So...
Because you're smart?
Okay.
Okay.
So I was 17, I was waiting on going to University of Cape Town, running some tests, I delayed that. And while I was waiting, my mom has an NGO and she knows a number of people in the States and Canada. And they actually mentioned, so they brought up that I should apply to different schools and asked me where I'd apply to, and I was so one-track minded, narrow thinking, everybody goes to UCT, they called it. Everybody goes to UCT, so I'm going to UCT.
What was UCT?
University of Cape Town.
Oh, how is it UCT? Oh, right.
Oh, wait.
I have slow moments.
UCT, you know.
Let's just move on.
Yeah, sure. So they kind of opened my horizons a little bit more and suggested I apply, but I didn't know where to start, so a number of them suggested different schools. So University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, University of Arizona. Obviously, it was very influenced by the sponsors that she had.
Right.
Hence Arizona.
Because I was like, that's a bit
Yeah,
random.
I saw your face. Yeah. And I can't remember the rest of them, but those were the top three that I was thinking of because of the friends that mentioned them, her friends that mentioned them. And I got in. So at that point, my horizons were expanded. I'd been looking at the websites. I'd been looking at the courses they offered. Arizona actually looked like the best option for me because I was like, oh my gosh, it's the States, it's the culture.
Right.
Woo-hoo. Like,
Were
I
you
was
still
ready.
interested in doing law at that point, or?
So I was thinking about it, but when I saw different courses, I thought there's so many other options.
Right.
So I've spoken to my cousin who's a lawyer, and he had said, you know what, it might be a good edge to study something else because everybody going into law will have studied law and society or law and this. So he actually suggested I have a minor in law and then do a major in something else and use that as my edge. So I started looking at, okay, what else am I interested in? And I started looking at international relations. And when I looked at UBC, they had quite a few things around international relations, and then they also had something called gender, race, sexuality, and social justice. They had an entire department. And I'd never heard of that before in any other... I hadn't seen gender studies in any other school, especially not UCT at the time. I don't know what it's like now. And that's my jam. So I was like, yo, this is in a department. So funny enough, I applied for the elective, and then...
What was your major?
My major ended up being international relations.
Oh.
And my minor ended up being gender, race, sexuality, and social justice at UBC.
UBC.
Yeah. So I decided to go along with it when I saw descriptions of the courses, and it just looked so different.
Right.
I hadn't seen that before. Like, you're critiquing media and society, and international relations had combined economics and politics.
Right.
I hated the econ part. But everything
Really?
else, yeah, I hate econ.
I love
I
econ.
hate econ. That's the one thing that I left till the end, and I was like, oh, fine.
Do it.
History and politics, but I loved like anthropology and sociology side of it.
Right.
I didn't take any anthropology classes, but it featured in a lot of the gender studies classes. So I guess just academic interest brought me here, and one of my mom's sponsors for an NGO sponsored me. So he actually said he would pay for 75% of my degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's no way I would have been able to. My background, I did not have enough money to make it on my own. So he offered, he didn't do 100% because he doesn't pay his kids' fees 100%. So he said it just wouldn't be fair. So he believed in like working for the rest of it. And my mom said she would try and do her best for a portion of it. So when I got here, I started working.
Right, because you have a study work permit.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you work from your first year?
I worked from my second, I worked from the second half of my first year. So I worked at a call center.
Right.
And then the rest of the time I was a residence advisor.
You got a job at a call center.
I did. It
second
was hard.
year.
In first year.
Oh, wow.
First year, first year January to like April. It was horrid. I hated every moment of it.
Oh, yeah?
Because it was one of the like funding call centers for reinvesting in the school when they
this was at UBC?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
It was the alumni center. So they call all the graduated students and try to get them to reinvest their money in the school. And obviously, they even call recent grads. So if you can imagine getting a call now to invest money, you're like, yo, I don't even have a job, or I just got a job. So it's one of those you must ask 3 times. I hate asking for money.
I know.
One job, but yeah.
I didn't know UBC had that. I think SFU has a similar thing because a friend of mine got a job at a call center and she had to do the same thing called alumni.
Most big universities, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I mean, I have people calling me now. And I'm just like,
they will.
Can you send me some money? Would be.
You took my money? Exactly.
Anyway, but you said, okay, so the reason he sponsored you, was it because of your eyes or just...
No, just because he works with my mother, and he loves the work that she's doing in Malawi. He's Canadian, and he just felt like extending kindness.
Oh, he's Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Yeah, I did. I mean, we're not homies, but like, shout outs now and then. No, like every month I would have to get, I'd have to get money from him anyway, and I'd have to get some letters from him for school. So I would have to communicate with him like, Merry Christmas, thank you so much for supporting me.
Right.
And when I graduated, I sent him a letter, and he sees my mom more often. So I've never actually met him in person.
Oh, really?
No, I've never met him. I've met his daughter, though, because his daughter is a year older than me.
And she's here?
She's here as well, but she came to Malawi for a missions trip to work with my mom's NGO, and then my mom ended up putting me on the staffing team that she was a part of. So we ended up working together, and then I just took her around the city on the holidays, the vacation that she was there, so we just got to know each other.
That's cute.
Yeah, it kind of is. She's actually moving to Vancouver this year, end of this year, so I'll actually see her.
So after your first degree, I think you had a period when you left.
After my first degree, I left. I stayed here in the summer, and then I left in August. I went to Geneva for a year and a half, and then I came back.
So that's okay. So why did you come back?
Why did I come back to Vancouver?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
Switzerland.
That's a good
Just
question.
walk us through that. Why did you want to come back, and what did you think Vancouver could offer you that, that you wanted to come back
that
to?
That Geneva couldn't? Was the underlying question. Well, first of all, when I came back, I did like the walk of shame coming back, because when I left. Like I told people I was never coming back.
Wow.
And I can say it now. Yes, I did. Like literally every friend that I had here, I made a big deal out of it. I was like, I'm going to Europe. I'm never coming back. Like I'm settling in Europe, so say goodbye now. All the best with your career and your life. It's been great. Investing in this friendship. I'm so glad I got to meet you. Never coming back.
Oh, wow.
So I repeated that so many times.
Because you wanted to go to Europe. That was your life. You wanted.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I thought Geneva, and I mean it is the hub of international organizations, development. I studied that. I was going into anthropology and sociology. Didn't necessarily want to work for the UN, but I wanted to work for something international. And that was the hub for it. So I left. I studied there. It was amazing. Traveled, and then came the time to settle. And that permit process, hey?
in Switzerland. How is it like? What's the
difficult.
major difference between the difference between
getting a permit there and getting a permit here? Okay.
Canadian versus, because I've thought about Switzerland.
Oh, have you?
Well, this is your interview now. So let's focus on you.
Okay, well, firstly, Switzerland, high standard of living, high cost of living.
It's higher than
Vancouver.
Oh.
Yeah, it's higher than Vancouver. It's super expensive to live in Geneva. So that's one thing to consider if you're wanting to moving to Europe was one thing. Moving to Switzerland, Geneva specifically. Although Geneva is the like top 5 most expensive cities in the world to live in. So you definitely don't want to be going there entry level. You wanna know that you have a job, a good job.
Entry level.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that word.
Yeah, you want to be established. Right, you want to have a job offer. Going as a student is really tough.
Did you have to work there?
I did work there, but I didn't get paid while I was working there, so it was all unpaid. It's only now that the UN has been getting a lot of flack for unpaid opportunities and unpaid internships. So I was an intern, and then I did a short-term project management with a consultancy. Oh wow! I was not paid that much, so it's not a huge wow.
But that was, how long did you work there?
For 3 months.
So that was an experience.
It was an
Goes on your resume.
Experience-wise, Geneva is amazing.
Right.
So if you want to go there for experience,
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, go there, but be prepared to suffer a little bit financially. Yeah, I think it's worth the experience that I had schooling-wise. I would not have gone there if I was not going to school there, because I had a scholarship, so it supported my living.
Because you're smart. Wow. Dropping bombs for us. So Jews wanted to be a lawyer with a scholarship.
I'm just saying, don't go there without a scholarship. That's all I'm trying to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible, though.
Thank you.
Hard work.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, it's tough. When you've graduated here, they automatically give you a permit.
Right.
There, they don't. You have to apply for a permit, and you have to show financial capability if you want to stay in the country, and that's 2,000 francs per month, which can amount to like 3,000 Canadian per month. You haven't been working. You've been going to school. How are you going to substantiate 3,000 per month in your account when you're applying for a 6-month permit?
Right.
Because that's what they'll give you as an extension, which, 12,000 francs in my account, that's not something I had at the time. Barely. That's something I barely
Why
had.
is it in francs and not euros?
Switzerland is in francs.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, they don't do euros.
Interesting.
Yeah, not many people know, but yeah, they do francs. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Girl, I think that exchange rate hits.
Yeah.
It's like,
wow.
Yeah, they've got their own. So financial, you've got to prove the financial, and then you've got to get a job offer, and they have to prove why they're giving a foreign national the job as opposed to a Swiss person. You should have very unique skills.
Have that here, though.
They do.
LMIA, but it's more for like skilled labor.
Exactly. Yeah. There it's generally, and I don't know, like you're a consultant, how are you going to say you have unique? So you could make it. It's not that you can't, it's just that I wasn't willing to do that hustle. Right.
So you took the walk of shame.
And came right back because Canada had given me a 3-year postgrad work permit.
You had applied at that point.
I didn't need to. I just did once I graduated here, I did the application right after. And it's not really an application, really. You just go, you cross the border, that whole thing.
Oh no, that's not what I did.
Oh, I flagpoled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you took your application to the border.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just flagpoled it, and then they just gave me the letter there and everything.
Okay.
It was a really quick process.
No, that was not the story. No, it's you. Well, if you don't flagpole, you just have to apply.
Oh yeah.
Pay the fee and then wait, right?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. I wasn't about a. Why didn't you just flagpole?
I didn't. First of all, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, okay.
I only heard about flagpoling when I was doing the permanent residency thing.
Oh, really?
Which so I never heard of flagpoling.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't think I was necessarily desperate for it. I think at that time, like
'cause
I
you were
could
here.
wait.
That's
Yeah,
true.
maybe if it was in a situation where I had to get
Yeah.
it, I probably would have found a way, the interwebs or something.
Yeah, someone just told me in passing. Eh?
Yeah, no, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so why are you still here?
Oh, well, when I came back, I actually went to Toronto.
Yeah.
And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in Toronto.
Why? Because you don't want to come back to the friends that you deserted?
I adamantly told I'll never come back to.
Did you have an offer there by the time you got there?
No, I just went because I went to do my field work for my thesis in Malawi.
Right.
And I was applying for jobs while I was in Malawi, but it was a bit frustrating, and I felt like if I'm here in person, it will be a different experience to have interviews in person. I feel like they're just, they work differently. You're able to work a room a little bit differently. So I just applied for my flight one way, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it. We'll see what happens. And I went to Toronto because I thought, if I'm coming back to Canada, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah,
like,
the big city.
The big city, you know, the culture. I was ready for that.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the winter, but I wanted to, and I hadn't been there before, so I wanted to see what that experience was like and try to get a job there. I was also in a relationship at the time, so everything was just making sense in regards to Toronto. And then the job interview that I got was for a position in Vancouver.
Wonderful.
Yes. And at the time, I was like, I've been looking for a job for quite long. I know Vancouver. It's very comfortable. It was my home at some point. I know my friends. I don't have to figure everything out. And I've only been in Toronto for a month, so I'm not like, I wasn't attached. So I came back. I just came back, yeah.
Well, at least you had a job here and you came back.
I'm like, okay, well, thanks. Yeah.
You weren't, struggling it out.
It's true.
That's good.
Yeah, I
so
came back with the job.
is this the current job you still have now, or that's
current
been
job? I just ended up. I got a promotion a month ago.
So
15 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So it's been what, 3 years?
It's been a year and maybe 9 months.
Oh wow.
I came back to Toronto February 2019. I came back to Vancouver March 25th, 2019. Yeah.
Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
So,
it's a good
in terms of future plans, what do you want for yourself? I mean, do you want to stay here, get the citizenship, make this your home? Would you like to go back to Switzerland and try it again? Would you, when you're more established, or what? Like, how do you? What are your plans for yourself in terms of remaining in the city?
I have no idea what the answer is for that right now. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think in terms of Switzerland, I did look into that when I was there, despite saying the whole doom and gloom story. And you can actually, there's a better program for South African citizens. At the time, I did not have my both citizenships because I haven't applied for it.
Right.
But I can. So if I ever did want to go back to Europe, that would be the most feasible way to do it. But honestly, Europe doesn't feel homey to me. Like, of all the places that I've said have been my home, South Africa, Malawi, Vancouver, I felt settled and established, and I didn't feel that in Europe. I felt like it was just a vacation for a year and a half, plus school on the side.
And when you say Europe, so not necessarily Switzerland, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like everywhere I traveled to felt like a vacation. Like, I never felt a sense of, I wonder what it would be like to
But you
live
were
here.
on vacation.
At school. I was at school, technically, in Switzerland.
Did you have a lot of friends there?
In Europe?
Yeah.
I have family there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would visit. I visited one friend in Norway, and then I have family. I have family in Belgium and Ireland. So I went to those places that I have family in, and then I traveled to the other places with friends. But I just never felt that pull.
Because sometimes they say home is where the heart is. So maybe because
People,
you knew a lot of people in Vancouver, it makes it feel like home.
Sometimes, but I think I've never been particularly attached to going back to a place where there's a lot of people, because I know that I've had to move a lot. So I moved when I was 14 to South Africa. I moved when I was 18 here. I moved so I'm so used to moving that I'm like, you will find people. You will always make a home somewhere. There will always be a family you can create. So it's never been about returning. Otherwise, I would just go back to Malawi. It's more so been about like, where do I feel most comfortable, I guess. And
do you think, let's talk about Malawi.
okay.
So do you think, or even South Africa, do you think the opportunities you have here, do you think you would have been able to have them back home as well? Well, home being Malawi or South Africa.
Yeah.
So when you say you could move back home, how does that affect like the goals you might have for yourself and things like that?
Oh, I wouldn't move back home either. So
Right.
I wouldn't move to Europe. I wouldn't go back to Malawi, unfortunately.
Right.
It's just not, the economy is not in the state it needs to be. Still having electricity cuts, water cuts. I can't. I don't
Water
even remember.
cuts?
Yeah, man, you don't have water for a few days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's rough.
Isn't that just connected to the electricity?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
They have 2 separate systems in Malawi.
Interesting.
It is. It is.
I mean, we don't get electricity in Nigeria anyways.
Yeah, no.
So,
electricity, water, just the combination. Electricity, water, malaria.
Malaria? Would you have to put that in
you get
there?
it so often. You get it so often. What else? Like, traffic accidents are horrendous.
So what does Vancouver offer you, or Canada offer you that Malawi probably wouldn't?
Stability, like safety. Safety is different here. You can walk out on the street. You can leave your phone in certain places, go back. Job security as well.
The phone thing is the truth.
Yes, it seems funny.
That was a culture shock for me.
Yes, it seems small until you're like, oh, my phone. And you pick it up. It's different. And feeling safe is actually a huge priority. That's the difference between South Africa and here. I don't necessarily feel like I would feel as safe, especially as a woman, especially everything going on right now and has been going on there. Not to say that it doesn't happen here, but the extent to which it happens in South Africa. I want to feel safe, and I want my daughter's future, if I have any, to feel safe as well. Being able to buy property as well. What you're afforded as a citizen here is very different to what you're afforded as a citizen in Malawi or South Africa. So I want that. Healthcare, education. Education's really expensive in South Africa and Malawi. Here, if I have kids, I don't have to fret about 0 to 18, and I can figure it out from beyond. So thinking about those things, my mom, her future, she's older, her health, it's better if I'm Canadian as opposed to Malawian. So I think it's thinking about it on a broad scale, not just about me, but my future family and then my older family.
You would like to bring your mom here at some point?
I would love to bring my mom. I'd love to bring my nieces and nephews.
Are they willing to come?
My mother is a work in progress. She's deciding. My nieces and nephews, I think that's up to my siblings. They don't necessarily want to move, but like I said, cost of education is really high, and when jobs aren't paying that well, they might change their mind. They might just decide, what, for the kids is the best decision to do.
Right.
But I don't know. But I want it at least to be an option. But I like it here. Like, I don't think it's just opportunity-wise. I think it's been my home since I was 18.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I could go to Europe. I've moved enough that I'm just like, no, I think I'm good now. Maybe not Vancouver. I'm talking Canada.
Just Canada. You move around. Well, like, where in Canada would you like to move to?
Montreal, Toronto.
Ooh, I love Quebec.
Yeah.
I mean, just Montreal.
Yeah.
I've been on the outskirts, and
You're like, it's not for me.
no, Anne-Marie, if you're listening, remember that trip? Because when they said, oh, they speak French in Quebec, you're like, oh, French and English, right? In Montreal, you go anywhere further than that, you're on your own, and it was a shock.
You're more outskirts.
I was really shocked.
Like, oh.
I was like, you really do not understand me. You absolutely no. We Airbnb because we're trying to do it on the cheap. So
Massive.
don't do it. Just stay in Montreal, right? It's anyway. What do you miss about Malawi?
I miss my family. I miss the sunshine. It's sunny all year long. I miss the lake. The country's a third a body of water. It's
just the one lake.
It is. It's the lake. It's
oh.
Malawi. Yeah, it stretches from north to south of the country.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. It is called the Lake Malawi. It's just one.
So, like, how, like, is it always there? Do you see it from, like, where do you have to go somewhere?
Do you open your window and look out? No. It's north to south on one side.
Right.
It's not the entire country. Like, we're not just a body of water.
That's what you said.
Yeah, a third of the country is a body of water from from north to south, not the entire country.
Excuse my ignorance.
No, it depends on where you go. You can go an hour away or 4 hours away.
Okay.
The further you go, the clearer the water.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, and it's fresh water too, so it's pretty amazing. And it's got the most diverse species of fish in the world. We actually have them in the Vancouver aquarium.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is it called?
The fish? No, they have different names, babe.
Okay. You said we
You're
have.
really trying.
You said we have a species.
The most diverse species. I'm really not working here.
Okay, so you have a bunch of fish in the aquarium from Malawi.
In Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Interesting. Isn't the Vancouver aquarium closed?
No,
at the
it is,
moment?
so you won't be able to see it.
That's pretty
But
sad.
on regular days.
How did they get it here?
I've been wondering the same thing.
Interesting.
Honestly, I was just as shocked.
And that's from the lake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I hope it was ethically sourced.
Who knows?
Just saying.
Yeah.
So in terms of a community here of like Africans or Malawans, are there a lot of Malawans in Vancouver?
I met 3 more in
okay.
Vancouver since I've been here.
What about South Africans?
Oof, I've met 2. I think I met 2 South Africans. I met 1 black South African because it's...
Yeah.
I feel like they're less black South Africans than white here, I feel. Malawians don't travel abroad as much. Maybe it's an opportunity thing, and South Africans don't necessarily have the need to because South Africa's economy has been doing pretty well. So I've found personally that I don't see either of those nationalities as much here. I could be wrong. If there are people out there, please shout out.
I've actually only met 1 South African.
Yeah.
Throughout uni.
Yeah. Right?
1.
At SFU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D?
Not many.
Yeah, I think there was another one, but a guy, I never spoke to him. But I've never met a Malawi. I think you're the first person I've met from Malawi. And so I was kind of like, ooh, hello. I love to be from different countries. So I was like, unicorn.
It's a common phrase. Like, as soon as I tell people, they're like, wow, you're the first. And I'm like, yep, not the first time I've heard that. So it's very rarely. So now when people respond and say, oh, I know 1 more, I know this person, I ask them who it is because... Right.
Yeah. Do you connect or you...
I've connected with the 2 others. 2 others. One from church. She's awesome. Super cool. She also went to South Africa as well. So a bit of a similar journey. And the other one, he went to university with me, but he wasn't like much of a talker.
It's from Malawi?
Yeah, they're both from Malawi. South Africa, I dated the guy who was from South Africa.
You found the one. South Africa, you're like, you
and me, buddy. You and me. Yeah, man, I feel no shame with that. If you're South African, shout out. I'm on the lookout.
So, like, is there an advice you would give somebody coming from Malawi to Vancouver? Like, say they're your age, 17. How old are you when you came?
Yeah, I was 18.
Yeah, so, like, they're thinking about it. Like, what would you give them as an advice? Like, what to expect, how to prepare, or, like, things like that.
From Malawi specifically?
Well, you came from Malawi, right?
Yeah.
South Africa?
South Africa.
Let's say Malawi, because you say they don't travel a lot, and South Africans, you said, might not have the need to, so most likely be somebody from Malawi trying to leave, like, and just maybe come looking for the same opportunities you're looking for. Like, what would you tell them?
That's a good question. I'd probably tell them the entire, like, permanent residency process from the start. Flagpoling, for example. Going to school, being able to get the 3-year work permit. Because when I arrived, I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
So I just arrived for school. And it's only by virtue of, like, bumping into people that I found out more and more. And I thought, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity. So I feel like if more people knew, even telling friends back home in South Africa or back home in Malawi, even when I tell them about express entry, because so many people are so focused on America, because that's all they hear about, especially back home, that Canada's kind of an afterthought. And even then, it's like the little brother, or like, who are they in general is the question, or what did they do there? Like,
I definitely have those.
Right? I get so many questions, like, why would I come there? So I feel like that's what I tell them, the permanent residency process, the perks of being Canadian.
What are the perks of being Canadian?
Well, Well, glad you asked me. Yeah. I think healthcare is huge. Like in comparison to the U.S., especially, so many people trying to chase the U.S. Like healthcare is huge. I think the fact that they have an elderly population and need younger people means their like assimilation process happens a lot faster than other countries. So if you've got a good education or you've had good job experiences, you're more likely to get citizenship or permanent residency here over other countries that force you to kind of, they've got the population, they've got the economy to tax. Here, they need it. So I'd say it's a privilege to be able to go through that quickly as an immigrant. Education, again, if you're Canadian, you're paying less than an international student in college, and you're going to school at a younger age. Honestly, those are the perks that I've come up with for now. But also, if you have it, you've gotten it faster than American, but you can go all the places they can go now. So you can go to the States on vacation. You don't have to do that long visa process. In fact, you don't have to do the long visa process for many places. And if you're swapping a Malawian or South African passport for Canadian, the number of visa applications I've had to do, and the States, I only get 1 year as a Malawian. So I was doing that every year.
You only get a year?
Yeah, because of politics. The States give certain countries more than others.
Nigeria is one of those, and I get 2. That's so weird, because we usually get the least of everything. This is because I was thinking you would be like, oh, we only get like 3 years, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
Zimbabwe also gets 1.
Yeah, that's so weird. Because I know it's weird, but. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about dating. And your experiences dating in Vancouver. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about how dead it is, and like the guys are this and the guys are that. So is that your experience as well, or have you even put your feet in
the Vancouver waters?
In those waters, or are you just?
I think it's, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
What do you think of men in Vancouver? What do you think of the specimens?
In Vancouver specifically.
Well, this is where you live, babe.
Yes. I think it's scarce depending on what you're looking for. I think if you're trying to date black men, it will be scarce. But if you're open to any race, I'm pretty sure you'll have a plethora of people to choose from. I don't necessarily. I feel like I have an open mind, but I have more of a preference for black men, so it's a little harder to find someone.
Why do you have a preference?
Why do I have a preference? I just find them more attractive.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it also a long-term thing? Are you thinking family-wise and stuff? Is it just easier to transfer values? Or?
Yeah, values end up being the same, and I don't necessarily have to explain myself as much. I feel like there's some people who are willing to do that. I feel more tired. I want to be able to kind of start at the same ground level about things. Like, I feel like if I already have to do that on a gender level, I don't necessarily want to do the extra work of being black and explaining what it is to be black.
Right.
And again, there are people who are willing to do that. I think it's just more of a struggle for me. And then explaining culture on top of that. So I'm black, but I'm also Malawian. I'm also South African. And then Africa in itself, within the black community, has that whole component. Yes. So if I date someone who's black here, it's most often from the diaspora. So that's what I mean by black men, not necessarily like black born and raised Canadian.
Would you date a black born and raised Canadian?
I would. Yeah. I'd be more inclined to date a black born and raised Canadian than just a white Canadian. For the same reason of starting at the same like starting point. Right. But then I'd be even more if they were African and black, and then even more if they're Southern. Right, like, you know what I mean? Like
it just gets a lot more,
like it starts, which is why, I found the one South African and
then if you even go, because I'm sure you guys have tribes as well.
Yes,
and stuff,
so you go
and then you want, but you live in Canada.
I know.
And you're swiping, and it's like 0.
I know. Even my family, when I went back with my ex, they were like, we sent you all the way to Canada, and you came back with a black South African. Like, how? But I think it's literally just you're drawn to something familiar, and you don't see so much of that familiarity, which makes it hard here. Or sometimes, I guess, because the scarcity of black men, they're more inclined to date